All right. We are live. Welcome back to that Not So Mystery Show podcast today. So I'm going to change up the format a little bit. Um, and today I have the lovely Maria from Lady Night of Avalon.
Hi. I'm waving into the non-existent camera.
Yeah.
This is weird. Like I've never done anything without camera on YouTube. So yeah, I'm waving and all that stuff, but no, there's no camera, Maria. Please remember that.
yeah. um, yeah. So we can be making faces and all sorts of stuff.
Yeah.
Um,
And I can even sit here in my PJs and no one will know.
exactly. Podcasts are fun. Um, so I woke up the other morning and I'm really bad about getting on my social media. I checked my email and I had Benabel had sent out her weekly email and she had blogged about this new tag that you see here called the occult tea. And I remember reading it and thinking wow, that's pretty interesting. And all of a sudden, I noticed it's been taken off, and there's actually quite a few videos already with this particular tag. And I've watched. Let's see, I'm going to put one of these up here. I think this is the invitation from Ella Harrison, the red. Sorry about that. The redheaded witch and the Polish folk witch. So they all collaborated and came up with this. So this is they're extending an invitation towards all members of the occult and witchcraft community, not just content creators or big name, but everybody to participate in a discussion about the lived reality surrounding social media content and the issues as well as blessings that it creates for us as a community. Now, I'm not going to read all of that, but Maria and I, like for myself, I don't practice witchcraft. Um, but I believe in it. Yeah, it's kind of like an omnis thing. I believe in witchcraft. Um, but I know Maria, you
Yes,
do.
I do.
But a lot of these creator names I did not know until actually looking at this tag. So I mean, I think that this is primarily for the community, like that. It was intended for that. Um, and I can speak on, because I do follow a lot of content creators that do practice, but I don't think I'm particularly part of that community. But I mean, I enjoy the content. So we were thinking we might have a kind of a different perspective because, like, when I first came into the community, it was more about tarot. And I think that's probably well, you did something way different, I think, in the beginning. But then when I met you, you were in tarot tube. Like the
Hmm.
community is more around tarot. So I mean, we can speak on that kind of stuff, and we also have different ideas of what community is. So um, there were 4 topics. And I'm thinking that doing this as a podcast and getting your input, Maria, that we're just going to kind of fit in whatever we can fit into no more than an hour and a half. And then maybe we could do a part 2 and kind of finish it up. Does that sound
That
good to
sounds
you?
good. Yeah, that sounds perfect.
All right. So first, we're going to introduce ourselves. And Maria, I'll let you go first. Tell us about you and your channel.
Okay. So, I've had my tarot channel ever since 2018. That's also when I found the tarot tube community or the tarot tubes. So let's just say that. And I created a channel soon after that because I was finally able to find like minded people because I live in a city where I don't really have any spiritual people around me, not my work colleagues or like direct friends. Like none of them live a spiritual life in that sense. So I never really had anyone to talk to besides just family members, and they don't live in the same city as I do. So I was really looking for like-minded people, and TarotTube finally gave me that. Now,
Mm.
before I found TarotTube, I wasn't really watching witchy content. I saw some videos and I followed like one creator a little bit, but that was about it. And for me, the whole practicing witchcraft, I guess even as a kid, I was kind of like more tuned in to certain things. Like I would trust my intuition. If something didn't feel right, I didn't do it. I didn't go there, whatever kind of stuff. And I started actively practicing like on my 13th birthday. That's when I made the decision, okay, I'm a witch. That's my title, if you will. That's what I will go by, and I will, like, back in those days, that was like in the mid 90s. It was very difficult for me here in Germany to even get any kind of resources to learn that kind of stuff. It was still like kind of in the middle of the satanic panic over here in Germany. I don't know if it was like the same, like also in the 90s in other parts of the world, or if that came earlier. I don't know. But
Yeah.
here in the 90s, it was that time. And so in the library that I had in the city where I lived, there were maybe like 3, 4 books on, like, one was on astrology, one on occult, like 1 or 2 others, and that was really it. Like in the entire library, that was all the occult books that I could find. And so there was not much to go on, and it took quite a while before other books started to become available. So in the beginning, it was very difficult for me to really learn and study any of this stuff. And it was like, yeah, towards the end of the 90s, early 2000s, when more and more books became available. And then I was also able to get books in English and not just in German, which helped immensely. So I also got like the classics like Silver Raven Wolf and like different kinds of books that had spells in them and how to do them. Some about like an encyclopedia about different like words and what they mean and all that stuff, and symbolism. So everything, like whatever I could get my hands on, I would just collect in a way for my personal library to learn. And I didn't really utilize the internet much for any type of witchcraft stuff. Like
Yeah.
every once in a while, I might have looked up something like, okay, what color candle would you use for a certain ritual, maybe, just like that. Or if I wanted to get some ingredients, so to speak, for a spell, and I don't have a witchy shop anywhere near me, so the internet would be the place to go to get any kind of ingredients, or like what was it? Like I had a catalog in 2000, 2001 that I could order some things from, and that was really it. So for me, I haven't really utilized the internet that much for witchy stuff.
Yeah. I have to agree with you. I mean, I like the same. So tell us about like um you like for your channel and all that. Like what are you discussing on your channel? I mean, is it ever about witchcraft or is it?
Not really. Like my Lady Knight of Avalon channel is about tarot, and
Mhm.
I I mentioned that I practice witchcraft, but I never really share anything, which is something that to me is just very private and like sacred in a way that I don't want to talk about it, because I don't want people to know what I'm actually doing, because I don't want to invite their energy into that space. So I kind of want to protect my altar, my circle, and all of that. So as long as only I know what I'm doing, like it's only my energy in there. Like I'm not, like it was. kind of like the way of thinking, okay, if I tell someone what I'm doing, they might have an opinion and they might taint my way of thinking by
Mm,
telling me, oh, that's not how you should do it. Or are you sure you want to do it like that? Stuff like that. Like, I don't really talk about it too much, at least not when I'm actively preparing for a ritual. Like in
yeah,
general, I'm okay with talking about it with like family and friends, but I don't really discuss it in a public forum all too much because to me it's just a very personal part of me.
absolutely. Um, we have Lady Blind Wolf. Hi, April.
Hi.
We have Elise, A Tiny
Hi there.
Witch's Journey. Um, and real quick, Lady Blind Wolf says she can't do witchcraft stuff right now because she's uh, doing history until she gets stuff out of storage. Yep, I
Oh, okay.
understand because she moved a while back and she's got stuff to unpack still. That's
Mm,
fun times with moving. So my name is Carla. My channel is Miss Kulala's Mystical Musings. Keyword mystical. I've been called a mystic. My channel is more about palmistry, and of course tarot because I do, I have a lot of guests that come on and we talk about tarot, but also like spiritual things. I'm very much into the occult, and palmistry is more of a psychological thing, really. But I believe that how we are, our state of mind, has everything to do with our spirituality. Um, for myself, uh, my journey was like I've always been interested and drawn to the occult, but also the Bible. So, I had a lot of conflict going on as a child, but yet within myself, it's like I'm so drawn to this other stuff. And, I actually, when I was in school, was able to check out the Satanic Bible from my school library.
ooh.
Oh, yeah. I brought it home and my mom was like, what is that? Well, it's yeah, Carla, what do you have that for? Well, I'm just curious, Mom. And she said, curiosity killed the cat. I was just like, well, all right. So, you know what? And then I opened it up because, she was like, well, you're going to do what you're going to do. You know, I opened it up and I read, I think, the first couple pages, and just something about Anton LaVey came across to me as, I don't know, there was just something about his delivery that I didn't like.
Mhm.
So I closed it and I took it back to the library. But I was always buying or reading palmistry stuff, astrology, um, divination. The one thing I never checked out was tarot. So then I come to this community here, and I was introduced through family that this YouTube experience, and I was just watching videos and stuff, and I go on my sister's stuff every now and again, and then I think I actually made my first video a couple years ago. So I mean, my channel's I think almost 2 years old now, but even though I've been on YouTube a lot longer, um, that's really about the extent of it. I finally decided I was brave, and Christianity was way more than um, the Bible was being honest about. If you want to, or people was using the Bible and turning Christianity into something that I did not agree with,
Mhm.
only because I couldn't stop at the Bible. You know what I mean? I knew there was more, and I always wanted to know, why am I so drawn to this other stuff? I don't think it's bad. It's not bad. How can it be bad?
Yeah.
And it's not. It's absolutely not. And it took a little bit of actually digging into the occult and the esoteric things that weren't available to me, uh, or I didn't know they were available at that age. And now at my fingertips is the internet. All of that stuff is, and let alone the books and stuff, and the religious texts that are available now to read. The Apocrypha, the Bhagavad Gita, all of the I can't even name them all, but spiritual matters that are so close to the occult. I think it's all talking about the same thing, and
Hmm.
it's magic. So magic is for me like spirituality is to religion. Magic is the baseline. So, and I consider myself omnis because I've been through all these other types of uh like religions, studied about them. I find truth in all, but not one is the truth. And even witchcraft is considered a spiritual belief. You know what I mean? It's a
Hmm.
practice
Yeah.
that some people might even call religious because you set yourself up these rules and you follow them. But I agree with you. I think that each one is different. You know what I mean? It's catered to what we need out of it because it's connected to our spirituality. So um that's kind of the whole, like, it's a religion for yourself, and that's kind of how I view omnism. It's like my spirituality is catered to me, and magic is the baseline, and witchcraft is like an avenue that can be explored, that until I am spiritually, like for myself, until I know I'm spiritually ready to just dive into witchcraft, because I feel like it's such a powerful thing. And don't get me wrong, I know that I'm practicing witchcraft, but it's not
Oh, we
part.
all do.
Yeah, but it's not something that I'm actually like offering my services for. So it is just a spiritual belief for me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So these questions, oh, I want to see what Lady Blind Wolf says. She says, lucky a friend of hers that she went to high school with owned a witchy shop.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's really lucky.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. 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 So she was in high school. Yeah. And when you're a teenager, that stuff is so, and it's mystical,
Yeah.
and I don't know. I was extremely drawn to it. So, I mean, I would have loved living next to a witchy shop.
I would have been there all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. So there are four topics in this. And like I said, we're going to try and touch on as much as we can. The first one is the impact on community. And I think each of us might have a view, how we view community, and if Tarot Tube, we've talked about it before, is even considered a community. But let's go through these questions and just see what we can answer. So, Maria, I'll ask you first. What I think you might have already answered it, but the first question is what is your personal reasoning or inspiration behind sharing your practice online?
Well, yeah, like I said, for me, it was finding like minded people because I didn't have them in real life. So I had one, like my best friend in middle school. We would do stuff together, and that was the only time in real life that I was actually able to practice with someone and, read some books. Like we were those same four books that were available in the library, we both went through them, and we even had like a school presentation in one of our classes about occult stuff. And yeah, so from 7th to 10th grade, like we were doing some stuff together, like also learning how to read cards with playing cards because tarot wasn't available to us. And yeah, so for 4 years, I had someone to kind of get into that. And we were like 13 to 16, like in that age range. And after that, there wasn't really anyone that I could do that with. And so as soon as I found people online that did something similar, whether it was like I didn't watch like witchy tube videos, but what I was watching was Book of Shadows videos that I was
Mm,
really into. I was looking at a lot of different channels, people showing their Book of Shadows so that I could take some inspiration from that, because I wanted to see, okay, is it really like people, do they draw everything in there themselves? Do they glue stuff in? Like, how do they do it? And also the question of like, what's appropriate, what's not appropriate, how do you
Yeah.
do it the correct way and all that. And yeah, so I loved watching those videos, while at the same time, it never would have even occurred to me to hold my book into a camera, because that to me is just way too private.
Yeah.
But I appreciate other people sharing their stuff. And eventually, through those Book of Shadows videos, I found tarot videos, which hadn't even occurred to me to look for that. I started reading tarot in 1999, and I didn't know about TarotTube until 2018. So that's a very long time in between. I mean, YouTube came around like 2004, 2005. And so, like, until 2018, there's a lot of stuff that I missed. But when I found it, I was like, oh my God, yes, thank you, finally. And I just absorbed it like a sponge. I was watching all of these videos, and of course, I was following the most well-known creators, video creators, and like Kelly from The Truth and Story. I was watching Ethany, um, and oh my God, Imogen Walters, who unfortunately isn't on TerraTube anymore. So I was
Mm,
watching those in the beginning, and then I found many, many others, and so that for me was like such a gift to finally hear other people talking about this, how they use the cards. And of course, I saw all these different decks, and I started shopping, because at that point, I hadn't even ever heard of Oracle cards, because the bookstore that I had here that sold some cards, it was mostly tarot. And I thought it was like, I don't know, like positive affirmation cards or stuff. I didn't even know the whole concept of Oracle cards until I found TarotTube. So that was a new thing.
yeah.
And yeah, but for me overall, I much rather enjoyed watching what other people have to say about it.
Mhm.
And maybe, well, later on, as I had a channel, like joining in the discussions, but
Mhm.
I still keep stuff private. I don't share everything, because I just don't want to.
Yeah. Um, my personal reasons and inspirations behind sharing my practice online, because again, it's more the spiritual aspect of it, is just because I get so dang excited when I learn something or it makes me feel a certain way. I just want to share it. And I love to hear other people talk about how their magic makes them feel, And for me, it is extremely spiritual. So there's, um, I guess, if I had to label myself as anything, in which like I said, being omnis takes away that label of anything, period. If it is any type of witch, it's more energy, because I feel everything. So, like if my energy is off, stuff is off. That's how powerful that is. So, as far as like witchcraft, like stuff like that, I'm really private with that too. Um, but I love to watch people talk about, when they do abundance spells or protection. And, to me, that's probably a basic thing or for other people, it might be basic, but for me, I eat that up. I love it. I don't share it only because I just don't know that much about it. But I share the spiritual side of it, like uh, shadow work has been something that I learned from tarot and the witch community. And shadow work, I think, is extremely spiritual because the child to me is the person that is the part of us that is closest to the spirit. And in order to, like, healing that is what is extremely important to me. That's the spiritual, like what what puts me on this path to becoming maybe able to wield magic in to me the best possible way is to be healed. You know what I mean? And that's why to me it is so spiritual because I know that I'm doing it. It's like, but
Hmm.
not always am I attracting what I would like to attract. So I know it's just, I gotta make sure I'm healed and all that. But so that's kind of where my channel is. It's going. It's to help other people maybe on their journey just by being able to share mine.
Mhm.
That's really about it. Um, you now, Tiny Witch says Imogen is back, and this channel or her channel did this tag.
I just looked, I can't find her channel.
Oh, um, and Lady Blind Wolf says I didn't know anything about oracle cards until probably 2018. We have a local witchy shop here, and the owner got me into them first. The oracle deck was the Druid Animal Oracle. You know what, guys? I'm right there with you. My grandmother had tarot, and she was like, this is taboo, Carla. I mean, talking about, we talk about misinformation in here. She told
Mhm.
me I have a light deck and I have a dark deck. The dark deck was given to me, and I am not allowed, or she didn't allow herself to use it anymore because it had too much bad juju attached to it. So I
Okay.
grew up thinking that tarot, because I listened to my grandma, and even though I think she just didn't have the resources that we have now, you know what I mean? And everybody around her was Christians. So, I mean, she was kind of a black sheep as it was when it came to trying to practice, you know what I mean? So I don't think she was guided well. So, and I grew up with learning about her mistakes, you know what I mean? When I first learned about tarot and realized exactly what it was, I was just like, oh my gosh, a whole new world opened up. And then I thought, I love tarot. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, I love everything about it. So it's very spiritual, you know?
Hmm.
Anyway.
Yeah, with the
Um,
whole oracle cards thing, like, when I came to TarotTube, that was, like, almost towards the end of the time of, She Who Shall Not Be Named, Doreen Virtue,
oh,
and
yeah.
her oracle card stuff, and everyone in the community knew about her and her angel stuff and the oracle decks and everything, and I was really living under a rock when it came to that. I had no idea who she was or like as soon as I
Yeah.
started to like actively purchase her decks, or not all of them, but quite a few. And then suddenly she turned her back on the community and did a 180 and all that. But yeah, I was there for the drama, but I didn't experience all the stuff before. Like people getting certificates from her for being like, I don't know, some angel communication person, whatever she gave certificates for.
So this first topic is about community. So I think maybe we should probably um, say what we think about community. So do you want to say what you think about community? And the next question is what am I looking to achieve by participating, and do I seek to educate, learn, or connect? Yeah, so wait a minute on the community. That's the next one. So what are you hoping to achieve? Are you wanting to teach?
Okay, so the whole community thing, I guess instead of defining it really, I can say what to me it is not. Like when I talk in terms of tarot, but I don't know how the witchy tube community is structured. I have no insight
Mhm.
into that. I can only speak to tarot.
Right.
And the tarot tube quote unquote community is not a community for me. Like the way that I see YouTube, it's a big TV broadcast system. We all have different channels,
Mhm.
And people can switch back and forth between the different channels, different programs to watch whatever they like. Now, we have similar topics that we talk about, in our case, tarot. And so we fall under the same like special interest group. And that's really what I see it as. It's like special interest because you
Right.
have the gamers, you have financial stuff, you have political stuff, you have commentary, you have spiritual, you have whatever, special
Mhm.
interest groups. And to me, within our group, I think you can kind of compare it to high school. There's a lot of people, a lot of people, you are not friends with all of them. Some you are really like tight knit with, and you have things that you do together outside of the classroom. And then a lot of people you just meet during school sessions. And like in school you also have like the jocks, the cheerleaders, the mathletes, the debate club, band, choir, all of that. And I think that's kind of how we are too in this tarot tube world. uh, there are people that have a certain following of people. Then there's other people who have a different following, because we gravitate towards the people that we have something in common with. And
Mhm.
it's totally impossible to have things in common with every creator. Plus there's so many. There's like, what is it, like 3 million people like uploading stuff every single day onto YouTube. It's impossible to follow everything at this point. Mm.
Yeah.
And so excuse me. Um, yeah, I don't really see it as a community, because the fact that we do have drama once a year about what even is a community and all that stuff,
I know,
that
right?
that kind of negates the whole idea of a community. And the fact that we like, I don't know, in a community, it's more you help each other out and stuff. So we have those micro communities with like
Yeah.
like
Yes.
every one
Yes.
of us, we have certain people that follow our channels that we also interact with outside of YouTube. Like you and I, we do that. We have a few other people, but you can most likely count them on one hand.
Yeah.
And so those people I would consider to be a community, and
Yes.
everything else is acquaintances.
Yeah.
Like we know each other,
Mhm.
we can play together well or not, but it's not the like I wouldn't describe that as a community, not
Yeah.
necessarily. And so what I want to achieve with my channel is I want to have discussions. I want to get people's thoughts. Like when I have someone on my channel for a live stream or something, I want to hear what people think. I want to throw around ideas and learn from people. That's why I came to TerraTube, also to learn stuff, because up until then, everything that I knew about tarot was from books or like blogs and articles on the internet, but not from real life people that share their personal experience. And so I want to know, okay, how do you do this? What kind of spread do you use? And, how do you work with a certain deck? Things like that. Like, I want to get the personal experience from other people, so that, yeah, I can compare it with what I do, and maybe something that another person does is really interesting. I haven't thought of it before. And then I try it and I see, oh my God, that really works. And, just throwing around ideas and, um, what's the word? Brain fart. Like helping each other learn more, expand our horizon
Mhm.
in a sense. And I think that is my main focus for my channel. I want to expand my own horizon. And in that, I also want to share what I have learned
Mhm.
along the way, and then get other people's opinion on it.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Um, I Trish popped in. She's listening while cleaning. And Julia Kuchawat, she is here and
Hi.
she was just thinking about us. So,
Oh.
Julie, I'm always thinking of you too, dear. um, yeah, I feel that too. I feel like, the the channels that I watch and I just like comment um regularly, unless I actually like communicate with you outside, it's hard to say, like what you said, that it's like a community. It is just like stuff that I interact with. And, but I think everybody in chat usually is part of that.
Yeah.
For the most part. So yeah. So and I agree with you. I think it's we help each other. We can reach out. We can talk um and well, I talk to you all the time. You help me with a lot of stuff. So yeah, and it is. It's like having somebody that you can count on sometimes. That's like community. Just even if it is for advice or just whatever. Um so with these next questions, oh, and like I did forgot to answer the educate or learn or connect. Like I even my palmistry is not really to teach, it's just to share what I've learned. You know what I mean? It's not I'm not looking to teach because even as I like look at all the different hands and the palms, and I'm like, things change because I'm still learning, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
So I don't agree with everything I was taught. And it is because I have quote unquote, not to be punny, hands-on experience now of looking at all these different hands. It's like I've even learned from that, and I've noticed commonalities and just from asking questions and inquiring about the querent, I'm learning still. And so I think maybe I don't know, maybe in my 70s I'll write a book, who knows. But yeah, I don't yeah, my channel is just to connect, I just I love it. And I don't put a lot of importance on YouTube just because it is just a place to uh kind of express myself. So, do you believe that social media as a whole impacts even our small little community?
Absolutely. Um, I see this in two different ways. Like for one, like I do this for a living, marketing, social media, and all that kind of stuff. So I see how I can use it to sell stuff and things like that. And I'm doing it for clicks and likes and all of it. And then there's the private me that has my own channel that is doing it for recreational purposes. And yeah, with social media, everything is so fast paced,
Yeah.
and everyone who has internet access, a microphone, a camera can now go online and just say something out there. Like back in the days before we had the internet, like we got our information mostly from books. And so if someone wrote a book, that means they have to have a certain level of expertise. Otherwise, the publisher probably wouldn't have even spent any money on them publishing a book. So with a book as such, as a medium, comes a certain kind of credibility, I guess.
Yeah.
And now online, everyone can say everything unfiltered.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it is really difficult to decipher what is real, what is not, what is genuine, what is not,
Mhm.
and it takes a lot more time to sometimes, find the information that you're looking for that is also accurate. And yeah, it's more difficult than it was before, I think. And it is also very easy to like, even we have this in the YouTube world, trolls. You never really
Yeah.
know, is someone sincere or are they just taking us for a ride?
Yeah.
And it takes a certain level of maturity, I would say, to be
Mhm.
able to decipher these things and to really look at it objectively and see, okay, what is it that I'm actually looking at here? And all too often, I see it, even in my own family sometimes, that when something is presented in a really nice and flashy way, then, oh my God, that must be true, you know? And then
Yeah,
when someone says, oh, I heard this from my sources and they've been telling me this and that and everything, who are those sources? Nowadays you can just say something. You don't even have to give any kind of sources or,
mhm,
like in a book, in the back of the book, you always had to list all of your resources where you
yeah,
got information from. On the internet, you don't have to do that anymore. Everything is just, you have to take people's word for it. And
yeah,
that makes it really difficult to find accurate, genuine information sometimes.
yeah,
And so it takes a certain level of practice to decipher that. And then nowadays we also got like the fake news and everything. So it's
yeah,
become more
yeah,
and more difficult. And
absolutely.
so in that sense, I see the internet, social media as a blessing and a curse. You can do so many things. You can reach so many people. You can get your information out there. You can find so many things that otherwise, who knows if you could find that information in a book, and who knows if you could even find that particular book. You can just Google everything and you have the entire world library at your fingertips. But you also have more responsibility now to look at what's true and what's not.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that. I wanna, Lady Blind Wolf, she was saying Lady Grave Dancer was the one that started the witchy community. And, that was long before I came, but I know that name. And she said that, the community has definitely had its ups and downs with drama. And then she says, but the thing is that when you get a group of people coming together, you're going to have personality conflict and drama to a certain degree. And she's absolutely right.
That's
It,
human nature.
yeah, absolutely. And Julie says in the past decades, tarot community used to actually meet up in person.
Oh
The
my God,
interest,
yeah.
what that would have been, mm,
I would have
gosh
loved
darn it,
that.
where was I? And YouTube is its own animal. Yeah,
Mhm.
yes, yes. And Lady Blind Wolf, that she connected her with quite a few people. I believe that. I believe that. And love what you said about taking more time. Never thought about that. Yeah, time,
Yeah,
definitely.
it's such a contradiction, the internet is so fast-paced, but you
Yeah,
need more time to actually consume it.
yeah, absolutely. Um, yeah, if anything, social media, like my daughter says, is it keeps us from like going out and actually interacting with people and having more face to face conversations. And
Mm.
in my experience, it'll divide quicker than anything. You want something that'll bring people together, but because of our human nature, it tends to divide us more because of I mean, it's hard to read body language. It's hard to know, like, again, like some of these questions are on here about staging and, I mean, we just don't know the people that are behind the camera, not really, unless we get to know them. So, yeah. Um, Lady Blind Wolf says, we also have to take into account you have these pastors like Greg Locke, for example, that takes and twists the information we give and oh my gosh. Yes. I mean, that's part of, you know, um, I think it's either in this one, but we're gonna talk about Locke. Um, so moving on, how do I think social platforms such as TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube have each impacted education sharing information? I think you covered that.
Well, kind of. I mean, the different platforms, I see differences in there. When it comes to TikTok, I personally am not a fan because it's just way too overwhelming for me. It's too fast, it's too noisy. It's like, as someone who is doing like video content for a living, When
Yeah.
I consume something, I want to slow down, and TikTok is the opposite of slowing down.
Yeah.
So
You're
I wouldn't even know where to start. I uploaded 2 videos just as a test, as an experiment to see what would happen, and it is very easy to get the numbers on there. So TikTok for me is a numbers game. And Instagram is the perfect photo album. Everything has a filter on it. Everything is
yeah.
staged. Everyone wants to look their best, and that's just the picture perfect place. But
Mhm.
it's just visual cues, and you don't really like reading through the description of a picture. Like how many people actually do that? You just scroll by, you give a quick like, and that's it. So it's also really fast. It's not something that you consume in depth. For
Mhm.
that, I turn to YouTube because YouTube gives you the long form content where you can have something like we do, like now a podcast, or you have those very
Mhm.
long discussion videos, live chats, or someone will research a topic and then present it there's these historical channels that talk about ancient times or whatever, and you can actually learn something from those. And for me, I can slow down, I can
Mhm.
actually consume something, and I might learn a thing or two. I find something that is really interesting and I want to research that a little bit more, and I also watch it for entertainment to just really get my mind off of other things. So I watch those dumb text message videos sometimes to really just forget everything that happened at work. Like I need some time to come down and just, like say, okay, the day is done and I need to just not think about anything. But for me, yeah, the place for education, for learning, for community in a sense, that is YouTube for me.
Yeah. I do have to Julie says it really does bring people together and people connect with people you might Yeah, Julie, you are right. You
Yeah,
might not meet in your everyday life. So the isolation of the pre-internet days is not something she would want to go back to. And I'm glad you said that
absolutely.
because yeah, I do agree with that.
And if it
I don't
wasn't for the internet, you and I would not have met ever. I
yeah,
wouldn't have met any
yeah,
of you, especially being in Germany, you being in America. We would have never
yeah.
known each other.
I I don't think that social media in itself divides as much as like it's used to divide. You know what I mean? Like
Mm.
during political season or religious context, it can be used to divide. It's like if you're talking to somebody face to face, it's well, I mean, then there could be physical violence if
Yeah, but with the
if you
internet,
I
everyone is
don't
a
know.
keyboard warrior.
Yeah,
Everyone is a
yeah,
keyboard
and
warrior.
at least
And it's
you
become
can
so
block or
disrespectful.
just yeah, at least then you can always block or something like that if somebody says, or you just scroll or whatever, you just don't deal with it. So,
Yeah.
in that way, it does save the physical violence.
Yeah.
So, yeah, yeah, I do agree with you, Julie, definitely. Um, so, for me, the platforms like TikTok, like I started off on YouTube, actually Facebook, but I mean I didn't create any content. The first place I created content was YouTube. And this is me speaking for the smaller channels that I've been in contact with. It's like, and Kendra's Journey said it. It's like if you piss off somebody that has a large following, um, you know, it gets their connections, their tongues wagging. It makes it a little bit harder for that smaller channel to grow. Well,
Mhm.
that kind of happened to me in the beginning. So I just I found TikTok and I thought, I'll try this out. And I didn't really have anything on there, but I put one palmistry video on there and I blew up. And so then I put my focus on there because I was also working on the business aspect of it. So YouTube wasn't really going anywhere. So I thought, you know what? Because for business, I want to have a little bit more numbers. And as I got into it more, I realized that as soon as I got to the 1,000 followers, that there's that live option. And So like TikTok now, they have a live option. So you can go on and they have like major, like we have what we're doing right now. TikTok has this kind of stuff regularly. And they get on and people they debate and they talk about stuff. A lot of it I'll scroll because you just get people that want to argue and fight. And I think Lady Blind Wolf can attest to that because she's in a lot of lives and she's had a lot of trolls and um yeah, yeah. Um and I think she's even gotten in trouble a few times because TikTok does watch what you're saying and anyway, but I've met some really great people there too. And it is more of like I followed some channels that were like digging into the esoteric scriptures that um like the Bhagavad Gita. There are people on there just reading from it. And then some of like apocrypha type stuff, like stuff that's not in the Bible but should have been in the Bible, like reading from those type of texts. And I'm having a brain fart. Gnostic texts. Um, and so like these lives will be based around that kind of stuff. And I eat that up. I'm like drawn to that. So it's like, and there's always somebody live. And so I've connected with quite a few people on there. But the thing of it is like each of these platforms feed the algorithm that you put in there. You know what I mean? It's like it feeds whatever you're searching for. So if you're looking for it, you're going to find it. But I agree with you because of like it's got that 10-minute option is the longest. So it's like if I really want to sit down and watch something, it's going to be YouTube, you know. And unless I'm maybe sitting at the doctor's office or someplace where I've got a long wait, then I'll scroll through TikTok. And it can be entertaining, believe me. So, but um and Instagram, I'm not on there very much. Even with Facebook, I don't know. I got burnt from Facebook and Instagram. I just haven't given it enough time to speak on it.
Hmm.
So, yeah. And as far as like impacting community, again, that the TikTok I found a handful of people on there that are extremely spiritual and I resonate with um kind of like their beliefs on Christianity. It's like we all kind of gel with the Old Testament is not the God from the New Testament type thing. And either if the Bible even talks about God, period, if you know what I mean, it's like
Mhm.
it's something totally different. And I'm like, oh my gosh, where are you guys on YouTube? And I think they have YouTube channels, but their YouTube channel doesn't have that much traffic because I think TikTok and YouTube are like don't like each other.
Not really.
Yeah. All right. So Lady Blind Wolf said the witchy community on TikTok is a bit more toxic if you know, like texting, they say the moon, for example. Not to mention the fact that I think there's people on there that are more for the witchy aesthetic than anything. Oh, okay. See, I don't know. um, is consuming witchcraft content becoming a substitute for practice? Can you answer that? Because I can't.
Um, well, I guess I can speak from my personal experience. I don't know how other people do it, but in a way, sometimes okay, I do practice some rituals, but I will only do that when I'm physically healthy. So in the past couple months, whatever, I had to like miss like the Sabbath days because I was recovering from surgery. I had other stuff like even just something as simple as a cold, and I'm just not feeling up to it. And so I'm not able to do something if my body just doesn't if I'm not at full strength, and then I'm not going to do it. But on those days, I still want to kind of feel connected with certain energies and stuff. And so, one way I can substitute that for me personally is to at least consume something about it. Or in the early days when I was learning about it, like I was not practicing so much because I was still in the learning stages. So yeah, I was reading and consuming and like getting ready to try those things, but it was a lot of like whatever I could get my hands on. And but for me, I also learned relatively quickly that I don't want to do the rituals or whatever exactly the way that they are written in books that I bought. I always put my personal spin on it. And after a while, I just started to like, for every ritual that I do, I write my own spell, like for every single one.
Yeah.
And um, during that ritual, I will burn it. So I will not even archive them. So I couldn't even tell you like what kind of ritual I did a year ago for whatever full moon in Leo. I don't know. Um, I couldn't tell you because as soon as it's burnt, it's out of my head and out in the universe. And that's like I didn't even or I don't even document the stuff that I do. But when it comes to consumption and substituting stuff, yeah, I use that in moments when I'm not physically healthy, but I still want to have some part of it in my life. So in that sense, consuming it still gives me the sense of okay, I can do something with it, even though I'm not actively doing it.
Yeah. Oh, what? Oh, just making sure somebody's calling me. I'm making sure no, it ain't important. um, yeah, I want to go back to a little bit that I missed here in the chat. Um, I like what Lady Blind Wolf said, and I agree with this. And I think you had mentioned this too. It's like people need the social media to connect with like-minded people because they have to be secretive. And honestly, that's how that is around me. I can't say that I have to be secretive, but it's like I'm just looked as crazy cuckoo,
Yeah.
and I just kind of roll with it. I'm like, yeah, whatever, I mean, but you don't know might hurt. No, I'm just kidding. I don't do nothing like that, but I just kind of roll with it. Let them think what they want to think. But I love to be able to talk about this stuff, and I want to be received seriously. Um,
Yeah.
and then Julie says, "Yeah, we will learn to be better at not feeding the trolls." Absolutely.
Yeah.
Not even interact, and all publicity is good publicity.
Yeah. It's
Yes,
only bad when
it
they don't
is.
talk about you.
Yeah, that's true. um, and then let's see which. Oh, I read that one. TikTok is way more censored than YouTube is, and it really is. Yeah, there's a lot of things you can't say on there because they are monitoring you. Um, yeah. Okay, so I think I'm gonna we maybe try to get in another half an hour. So I'm gonna look at this next topic, and it is the influencer authenticity. So, out of what you share on social media, how much of it is staged versus reality?
Um, Basically, everything is staged. Because it starts with, I mean, if I'm in front of the camera, then the way that I present myself is staged. I will choose my clothes. I will do my hair, my makeup, all of that. It's staged. I will stage the lighting. I will make sure that the background is not too cluttered, whatever. That is the first staging that we all do. And then the things that we show, we prepare them in advance. And in my case, especially when I'm hosting something, I prepare the questions. I have notes. I follow whatever I have prepared on paper to not lose focus or whatever. So, in that sense, even the preparation is a form of staging. It doesn't mean that the questions that are being asked are not authentic, but we have to distinguish between like what even is authenticity. Does authenticity mean that you get in front of the camera no matter what you look like and then you just talk whatever is on your mind, or is it even
Yeah.
authentic to prepare and take the time and present it in a form that is logical? It has like a common thread going through your thoughts so that you don't get sidetracked. Like, there's just, for me, even if I'm just filming the table and I'm just showing cards, even like, do I have a tablecloth? What is the color of the thing underneath my cards? Even that is staged. So, and taking Instagram pictures, of course, they're staged. And oh my God, it looks kind of meh. So I put a filter on it. There's like, what isn't staged these days? We all want to look our best, and there's nothing wrong with it. It's just, I think there's a difference between staging and deceiving. And I don't think in staging something that we're actually deceiving in that way.
Yeah, I think that's part of the what they talk about, the whole imposter syndrome thing. I think authenticity also means being very mindful, and authenticity is just being you. So, I mean, it's whatever you prefer. You know what I mean? So, if that's what you prefer, then that doesn't mean you're not authentic. That means that's who you are, and that's important to you. That, to me, that's authentic. Myself, me being authentic is not having to worry about makeup and doing my hair. Well, sometimes I do my hair, and I won't wear makeup. you just because truly I'm lazy. I just, and sometimes I have to say something, and I feel like I have to say something. I feel like I have to get it out. I just don't want to put makeup on to do that, unless I'm going somewhere later on. Then it's worth putting the makeup
Yeah.
on. So you never know what you're going to get. And as far as like staging, uh, I do take notes because, like you, I don't want to forget something, but I'm usually a jumbled up mess. And that's authentically me because that's how I am regularly, you know. Um, the autism that my granddaughter has, my daughter found out that it was linked. It's in our family. It's not from, because they did genetic testing. That came from my side of the family, which means uh, there's something there.
Mhm.
Yeah. So, because she thought maybe it might have been uh, she calls it her baby daddy, but it was not. um, so, I mean, and I just think that there's some type of what we call neurodivergency in the communication skills. So, I mean, how you get me on camera is pretty much how I am when you talk to me. You know, I skip over words, and I think I said it and I didn't. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's my authenticity. Whereas if somebody is staging something, they could still be extremely authentic, just like you said. That's what you know. That's who you are. And I will agree, Maria, that is exactly how you are.
But that also comes from my job. I mean, having worked in journalism, I need to prepare this stuff. I need to know the questions that I'm going to ask in an interview. I need to do my research. Who am I even talking to? What am I talking about? All that stuff. So it's a habit. I have to do that.
I like Tiny Witch says, agreed, Julie. I love having a small channel. And I want to chime in because I prefer on YouTube having the small channel. And even TikTok, I'm still small. It gives you a sense of freedom. Like I was telling you, Maria, that whole I believe it was Amy from Strength Reverse said, I don't have the pressure that the larger channels have.
Right.
And I am so thankful for that,
Mhm.
because I could go 3 weeks and not make a video, and it's not because I wouldn't love to make a video. There's so much stuff that I have going on. I'm a full-time nanny. Um, that's my job. And then, I also I work for Spiritual Blossom, which is it's a psychic hotline. I do that in the mornings, which it's slow, so I can do other stuff while I'm on there. But
Mhm.
it's just always busy. And if I had a larger channel, I would feel pressured to at least have a video out every so often that
Right.
I don't.
You
And
have to deliver, and there's expectations put on you.
absolutely. And see, TikTok works for me there because I can create a 10-minute video like really easy. And even that though, I take the time to do all the research, and it disciplines me to get it all in 10 minutes. I mean, I'm talking more about my tarot. I put tarot on there. So I'll try to get as much information in uh in a tarot video on there, and it disciplines me to do that. Whereas I wouldn't put that on YouTube for one. It's just one card at a time.
Mhm.
But it helps me, like, if I teach, I retain. So Tiny Witch says, not bragging, but she has no clutter to clear. Yep. And I used to put up a backdrop too. And I even stopped doing that. And Maria said, no, Carla, you need to do that again.
Did
Yeah,
I?
I should. So you're not seeing my clothes hanging behind me. Um, so do you think there is an element of censorship in these online spaces? And how do you decipher what is appropriate to share online versus what to keep private?
There's absolutely censorship. I censor myself because I don't make everything public. So I am very careful about the information that I share about private life, for example. And even with everything in like tarot or witchy stuff, like especially in witchy stuff, I don't share that. So I censor that out and not talking about it. Um, like I would never read one of my spells or something publicly in any kind of forum,
Yeah.
because I just want to protect that energy. And to me, that is censorship. And even in the tarot stuff, yeah, the way that I want to deliver the information that I'm giving is in a very specific manner. And that is an element of censorship too.
Yeah.
And I mean, sharing too much personal information on the internet, because the internet never forgets. Even if you delete, it's still there. And at some point, it can really hurt you. Like, if someone, say, like you're applying for a new job and they research you up and down the internet and they might come across your channel and they see something that they might not like, you might not get the job. And so I always keep these kind of
Oh,
things in mind too. Like if someone saw my channel, would I be okay with what they see?
yeah. Oh, yeah.
And so I'm mindful about how I represent myself in a public space.
Mhm.
And is the stuff that I put out, would I be embarrassed by it the next day, or can I say, yeah, I said what I said and I stand by it?
Yeah, I agree with that. Um, Lady Blind Wolf says, "Yeah, but to a certain degree, I mean, people will judge you for saying things being unorganized or messy, and you don't want to be judged." And I think, yeah, I get judged no matter what. I think we all do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Anybody that forms an opinion is a judgment call, and we all have them, which is really nice about this tag because that's all we're voicing as opinions, and it's allowing everybody a voice to do that. And April, I like, it's been I feel like just by putting our voices out here is we're susceptible to that, and I just don't give a shit anymore. um I try to live every day like somebody's watching me. There's just certain things that I'm not going to worry about, and that is like what comes out of my mouth. I'm going to try and be mindful, but I can't. There's certain things that I can't control, like uh, like if I say something and I forget a word, because half the time I don't realize I forgot a word. And, I don't know what to do about that. It gets worse the older I get even. Um, I forget names and I forget things. I mean, um, I haven't like had a diagnosis to say I'm ADHD, except for my beautiful friend Julie. Julia said, "Yeah, Carla, you're ADHD." I'm like, that makes a lot of sense. And then now knowing that the third chromosome was missing from baby girl, there's a lot of things that go with that. And neurodivergency is just one of them. I think that there's a lot of things that people just don't know. And so I feel like I'm not going to go on video and say, I got all this shit going on. Please don't judge me, because it's not going to make a difference. You know,
Yeah.
people are just going to do that. And it's just human nature. They're just going to do it. I do it. I just
Right.
don't like that I do it. You know what I mean? I try not to do it.
Mm.
And then we have Tony. I want to say hi, Tony.
Hi.
I do like what she says. People do 6 videos in one day and just post them throughout the week, and then they get in trouble because it looks like they're wearing the same clothes 6 days in a row.
OMG. People need to get lives.
You know what's funny about that is I have 6 outfits, and that's it.
I
So
mean,
I mean,
I
chances of you
have
catching me wearing the same outfit is pretty all right.
I've actually done that where I was like batch filming videos back to back. I think I was like filming 3 videos in one day. And I did actually change clothes in between them to make it look like I was filming them on different days.
I mean, you know what? I mean, I could see, because when I used to perform on stage with the band, um, I would change my clothes sometimes, but that's because I'd be very gross and sweaty. So I would change my clothes. But for a video, that's, I don't know. You know what? Theater, it's still, putting on a show, so I could see it. But yeah, that I'm not going to do that. But I do like um Elise. Yeah, she's done like her videos where she's showing modeling her cosplay stuff, and I think it's awesome. I love it. I love to watch you model those things. It's cool as heck. Let's see. Do Okay, we got that. And we talked about, I'm pretty sure we covered social media etiquette or a personal preference. I mean, on how we are with our channels, definitely. Have you ever encountered, or, oh, this is a good one. Have you ever encountered or heard of grifters in our community? And do you know what a grifter is?
I think the ones that I've encountered are the ones that message you and like
Yes.
the DMs and like, oh, I have a message from your ancestors. I want to give you a reading. Please pay and all that kind of stuff. And I have gotten them from channels that copied other channels that I actually follow. So it's the ones that pretend they are someone that we know, and then they're like, oh yeah, I want to give you a reading and all that. I've had those. I had them message me on Facebook. I had them message me on Instagram. I've known them, yeah. Not very many, but a few.
On TikTok, um, they can get away with it there, but how I've noticed is if I follow a like one of the bigger channels, I'll notice that somebody will copy their name and follow me back, because the bigger channels don't follow me back.
Right.
And all of
I've
a
had that
sudden,
too.
I'll have these 3 with the same name. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
So yeah. Um, yes, of course, absolutely, Elise. I love seeing that. Um, Tony says, I think I changed out of my jewelry when I did multiple top downs in one day when I was a newbie and listened to the nonsense advice. Been there. been there. Um, so what are significant signs of grifters? Yeah, I think that's it. They're I'm I offer my services, but I don't go into somebody's inbox and go, "Hey, would you like a reading?"
Yeah.
No, it's just why would you bother somebody like that? I mean, yeah, that's a good sign right there. If you're getting messaged, yeah, don't answer that
And
call.
of course, they always tell you, "Oh my god, there's a curse and I need to lift it and you need to pay me
Oh,
200 bucks or whatever kind of stuff." Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. And I work for a psychic hotline. There's a lot of those. There's a lot of competition with that. And even those people are not going to reach out to you in your inbox. I
Mm.
mean, seriously, I had somebody message me on Facebook, on my Facebook business page, and said, "Can you share your information with me so that, because I do this too, but I got locked out of my account." And I'm thinking,
What?
has that ever worked for you? Is what I'm thinking. Has this ever worked for you? Why
So
would
they wanted your password or what?
they wanted to use my name and do my work for me. You know what I mean?
Oh,
They wanted to know what I did.
that's a new one.
Oh yeah, exactly. But I mean, I'm still, I mean, I was blown away by who would fall for that. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
I mean, I think next time someone tells me like if I don't fall for their crap, like in the beginning I made it entertaining for myself to actually answer and see what would happen. And I think next time
Yeah.
someone tells me that, oh, there's a curse and I need to pay them to lift it, I'm just going to be like, yeah, I just put a curse on you. Pay me 200 and I'll lift it.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. There you go. There you go.
Hi, Jonathan. Aloha.
Oh, hi. Very good. Um, I think, yeah, we can probably get in a few more of these. Um, so we talked about grifters. What tools are helpful to decipher misinformation, and how can we as a community prevent widespread misinformation? Ooh.
Research.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only thing that you can really do. If you are presented with some kind of information,
Mm-hmm.
always do the research and find at least two, three other sources that say the same thing in that way to kind of verify it and, see how this is presented.
Mm-hmm.
For example, I saw a YouTube Shorts today earlier, and it was talking about the statues on the Easter Islands being burnt down. And that the person was trying to get to the Easter Islands for 10 years and it was forbidden and stuff like that. And on the internet, I then researched it because that person said someone actively burnt down those statues on purpose. And on the internet, there were articles talking about a forest fire, even though it's been said for ages that there are no trees on the Easter Islands, but you can see some trees on, the Google satellite images. So some were putting it into combination with volcanic activity. Other people said, yeah, they were burning them down on purpose, like an entire big place. And you can see the pictures online where you can see the grass just being burned and black for like a big like land mass just being affected by it, and you can see that the stones are kind of melted in some places. And but what really the story is, I have no idea. Like, was this done on purpose? Was it an accident? I don't know. So there's like one topic where I would look at multiple sources to kind of find out the middle way, I guess, in order to have some kind of idea. And these statues are from, like I'm answering Jonathan here, like
Yeah.
a certain stone that if you put some fuel on them or something, like they actually burn. Like some of them would just shatter. You can find pictures online, and you can see that they're more smooth now. The faces are kind of melted off in a way. So yeah, it's a different kind of stone. Like every stone is different, and some stone actually melts. Like sandstone, for example, um, is when that burns, it just melts. So
Oh,
it
see?
depends on what kind of stone it is, because here in Germany we have the city Dresden, and when in 45 the bombs were raining down,
Mhm.
the whole city was on fire, and since mostly like most of the houses were built from sandstone, everything melted.
So, even myself, you know, uh, since this topic is brought up, I could even be more mindful in anything that I share. It's like, make sure we put our resources in there, you know?
Yeah.
And for the ones that don't, then do your research, absolutely. Because, oh, I was just looking at what, Lady Blind Wolf said. She said she busted a lady on Facebook doing tarot readings, saying she was only picking people she was drawn to. And good, I'm glad. I mean, yeah, call people out respectfully, so, or I don't know. I mean, I have not had to. I have not ever had to deal with that. Like I said, I had to deal with the grifter, but or and the people that follow me. But I have the thing on my TikTok that no one can message me unless I follow them back. So I don't have to worry about being messaged there. Now, Instagram has that where they message you and it's like a message request, you know? And so I've
Mhm.
had messages on there. Misinformation, back to what we were talking about there. I agree with you. I feel like even research, if you are researching to see why it might be true, you also got to research why it might not be true.
Yeah.
So it's got to be thorough. And I feel like more stuff gets circulated at certain times of the year that we fall for, and it causes that's kind of that whole, like I was talking about, with where it divides us is we do read without research.
Mhm.
And so misinformation, the only way to battle it is just to become to, our own resource. And that means going down and reading it and or looking it up and seeing where they might have come up with that. Um, be a truth seeker.
Yeah. And I mean, one thing that would actually help, but I don't think we're actually going to do that as creators, is to give our sources and to say,
Yes.
okay, I found this here. I read
Yep.
this article on that website, and give the actual link in the description.
Yep.
Say, I read this book by this author, and, say exactly where you found your information. But I
Yes.
think it's just not going to happen.
Well, and another thing I was thinking of, because I talked to you about this earlier, is like who judges whether it's misinformation or not? Who is it that sits back and says that's not true? I mean, because unfortunately, we all have to do that. That means
Yeah.
everything is misinformation until you get to the bottom of it. And I can't hold everybody's hand. Neither
Yeah.
can you. Nobody can. We have to learn to be that person for ourselves and just question everything, because
Yeah.
social media is not a place to find your facts. It's
Yeah,
just not.
and those fact checkers, for example, on
Yeah.
Facebook,
Yeah.
I'm just laughing about them, because when they even go and fact check memes. And
Yeah.
so a meme is, it's satire, it's funny, it's, like something I posted, like it was a funny meme about like flat earth stuff, and it was, it was a joke. And then they say, "Oh, this is factually not correct." Of course, it's a joke. And, in that sense, the fact checkers, I take them with a grain of salt. Like, I do my own fact checking. So if I
Yep.
see something like with the Easter Island stuff, I just go and I try to find as many articles as I can. I try to find pictures. I want to see it myself. I actually went on Google to look at the satellite images and try to find out, are they still standing there? Like, and I went into research mode, and I think that's the best thing that we can do.
He makes a good point, Jonathan, because you mentioned this earlier. Um,
Oh yeah,
he
AI.
already Yeah, yeah.
Mm,
That is yeah, you even have to research that because that's the truth right there. I mean,
yeah,
it's pulling, it's a computer that is pulling this information off the internet. It's accessing whatever resources have been put on the internet. So,
yeah.
I mean,
And AI is doing like so much these days that it's getting harder and harder. Like you can create those avatars. And I even watched one video, like it was also in the shorts, and it came up and there was this discussion where like some people were talking to these OnlyFans girls because the OnlyFans girls were like, "Yeah, I make all this money and stuff because guys they watch this, they consume it, and so we will always have an income based on that. We will never be poor and all that." And then the guy said, "Well, guess what? AI is coming, and these guys that are now still watching your content." They will create their own avatars and they will have a fictional woman do the stuff that they want to see, so they don't need the real women anymore. And then those OnlyFans girls will be out of a job eventually.
I was just I was reading what Lady Blindwolf had put on there, and that's why I said wow, because yeah, yeah, that's trying to prove she's psychic. I
Mm.
was like crazy. People will I think if they put the amount of time, that they put into trying to scam people into just, I don't know, making an honest living. I mean,
Well, for them, it's their living. It's a job.
yeah, maybe that, I guess. Wow. Yeah. Yeah. Um All right. Where were we at? The misinformation. Yes, 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 yes. How does a large following impact the perception of the creator? Does this immediately make them an expert, or are there other assumptions as to why they may have a large following?
Well, I think you get a large following for different reasons. First of all, it's like charisma. Charismatic people have
Yes.
large followings.
Yep.
That's in any kind of entertainment business. You know,
I
just
agree.
because someone can sing very well doesn't automatically give them a large fan base. They also have to
Yep.
be charismatic, which is
Yes.
why there is like a publicist, marketing, and all that behind those people to make them charismatic. And
Yes.
in the tarot community, the ones that have big followings, they have them for multiple reasons. First of all, they put in the hours. Like they post consistently, so the algorithm will push them more. And then yeah, they have the charisma and they engage with people on a certain level. And so it's just like, but mostly they put in the hours, like they do the consistent live streaming, for example, or they put out, let's say, one video a week at least. And so people can kind of count on certain stuff to come, and so people will tune in, just like your favorite show is on TV Tuesdays, 8 o'clock, whatever, and so you tune in, you watch that. And I think the same thing is true for social media. If they post on certain days, you know what to expect, and with all that comes expectations that are being put on the creator, because they then cannot disappoint the fans. And so it's the whole, like, it turns into a job at some point.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I follow this fella on YouTube. He's called Library of the Untold, and wow, the amount of work that he puts into his videos, and he doesn't put them out very often. Maybe
Mm,
one every 2 weeks is just, to me, it's so amazing. I actually support him on his Patreon because I mean, I feel like I only pay like 99 cents a month. I feel like that's so worth it because of all the work he puts into his videos. And I think he's and he does. He puts the books up. He creates artwork. He finds artwork. Um, uh, he has like special effects. He creates his own music, and then he does have like his own like he puts artwork that his daughter creates on coffee cups. I mean, he's so invested. He has a
Mhm.
day job, but because of all of that he is, I mean, that he's putting into that, it takes him almost like 2 weeks to put something out, and he goes deep into like,
Yeah,
you know,
you can tell.
oh my gosh, Carl Jung, just oh my god, I eat this man up. I love him. So, and he has, I think, about 58,000 followers. He's just amazing. And I feel like you are exactly right. Those people, I can't, I don't have the time for that. And I almost think even if I did, I don't think I could ever compete with that, you know? So I don't know. I'm very much in awe and inspired by people that are able to do that.
Yeah.
It's just so amazing. Yes, thank you. Debbie is here. Thank you so much. Um, I missed something that Tony had said, and I did want to address it real quick, and then we probably won't go into much more because we're already at the hour and a half mark. So maybe
I
this
was
last
talking about
question.
cancel culture. Cancel
Yes,
culture sometimes makes it hard to fully research topics.
and
Yeah,
she's absolutely right. Oh my goodness. Yes.
I hate cancel culture.
Me too. Me too. They have all these like browsers that you can use, and supposedly, besides like the main ones that everybody's using, you can pay for these other browsers and be able to find the stuff that's been canceled.
Mm, okay.
I've not tried that. I've not tried that. So this is one of those things we would have to research and find out if that's the truth. Um, but yeah, I don't know. It's almost like with the whole what is that um Mandela
The Mandela
effect.
effect.
Yeah. We found out for how long they were saying that they never had the cornucopia on the dang
Fruit
Fruit
of
of
the
the
Loom.
Loom. But
Yeah,
that was
I
a
remember
lie.
it. I remember it.
Yeah. Maury Povich said that's a lie. Okay. So
What's a lie, that it was there or that it wasn't?
no, I'm just joking. Yeah. No, it was there. It was
Yeah.
there. So
I saw a woman actually dig through her closet and she found a sweater or something, and the tag that has like the size and everything written on it, it showed the cornucopia.
yeah. Yeah. Oh, I remembered it. And yes, forgot to answer that whole thing. I used to think large followings, depth and breadth, soon learned that's BS. Some of it just
Yeah.
because they use clip.
No.
Yeah, absolutely.
Marketing.
Yeah.
Nowadays, it's just all marketing, publicity, and all that. And just because someone has a huge following, they can still be full of crap.
Yeah. Um, Again, if they can show their research and stuff like that, that makes all the difference in the world. And if it's something that I kind of have knowledge on and they just kind of like summed it up for me in a beautiful movie type thing, I can appreciate that too. Like
Mhm.
there's this one channel I follow, Astral Legends or something like that, and they've made movies out of the Sumerian tablets.
Yeah.
So, and it's not just Sitchin's work. It's obviously they're using other people's take on the translations, because I I remember reading, and I can't tell you, I think it might even have been Billy Carson, and there's been holes in the things he said, but he said that Sitchin never actually translated the tablets, that he was using what was available to him translations wise. So the books that I've read from by Sitchin about those tablets um, are from someone else's translations, according to Billy Carson. So who knows? I mean, who knows if Sitchin it doesn't know how to or did know how to translate some of that. I think he had to in order to put it into story form. So, but this channel like makes like a movie out of it, and it uses AI for the artwork, but there's somebody telling the story, and it's just so entertaining. I don't take it as truth, but I know that some of the things that it's talking about is stuff that I have read. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like I can appreciate that. I can appreciate that, but I'm not gonna like go to the bank with it. You know? How does one maintain the balance of authenticity and content creation? I think we might have already covered that.
Yeah, I think the word authenticity is used so much. And I mean, what even is authentic? In the online world, like I said it before, everything is staged. It either has a filter or like we dress up, we put makeup on, we do our hair, we have a nice background, all of that. I think the authentic part is our voice, our thoughts that we have. And even if they are streamlined by, writing down notes and making sure we stick to the topic, I think it's still authentic because at the end of the day, when I say something on my channel, those are still my thoughts. And if I
Yes.
talk about someone else's thoughts, then I will give my commentary on those thoughts. So
Yes.
whatever I present, whatever I find, the authenticity comes from me in the way that I present it. And um, that's really the only thing that I can say about authenticity because everything else online is like, there's not much authenticity. Not when you have marketing and, publicists and all that kind of stuff, and you have editing and filters and effects and all these nice things available. Authenticity is not the word that I would use.
Yeah. My opinion is the only person that knows if they're authentic or not is you. No one's going to know if you're being authentic or not. And
Hmm.
so to sit there and say, "Oh, they're not authentic." We don't know. We don't know. You
Yeah.
know, I mean, somebody validates you or they don't.
Hmm.
And if they don't, then scroll, don't watch or whatever. But I
Right.
just feel like what Benabelle had said in her blog that I remember, it just kind of stuck with me, is it's like these type of tags definitely, it opens up great discussion, but it's our opinions. It's still our own judgment call, and we're
Right.
all going to have different ones.
Hmm.
And whenever we're judging, we don't know because we're judging from our viewpoint.
Exactly.
So then that's
We
really,
don't know where someone is coming from, what experience led them to their opinion.
yeah, yeah.
Even someone, for example, someone in my family could have a totally opposing viewpoint on topic XYZ because they have had a very different experiences, especially if it's like a different generation. Um, and I see this at work too. Like, there are people working in my department and they are almost 20 years younger than I am. And they look at the world in a very different way. We're doing the
Oh,
same
yeah,
job, but we're
absolutely.
doing it so differently. And some of the stuff that they do really rubs me the wrong way. And I'm sure some of the stuff that I do rubs them the wrong way. But we're still working in the same department, doing the same job. And at some point, it's just inevitable to disagree. And, it just happens.
Yep, yep. Live and let die. Yes, absolutely. Um, well, you know what? We're over the hour and a half mark. So I have invited Maria back. We're going to do a part two and do the
Hmm.
other two topics. Um, but this has been awesome, Maria.
Yeah, it
And
is.
and if you have not had a chance to watch any of these tags, it's great to hear other people's perspective,
Hmm.
and it just kind of tells you, about who you're watching, and I haven't even touched all of them. I think I've watched like 10 videos. So, it's Ella Harrison, the Redheaded Witch, and the Polish Folk Witch. So they came together, they created this, and so there's a lot of people talking about it. Hopefully you get in on it, and I thank you so much for everybody being here with us and talking with us, and be looking for the thumbnail, because we'll probably try to get that up here shortly, and we're gonna
Mhm.
go we're gonna do this again.
Yeah. And just to say a quick word about like what Tiny Witch here is saying, that's what I wonder about. How will this discussion end and resolve or understanding? I think there is no real resolving anything with this. I think it's really like we have to get to a point where we are okay with having different opinions. I think it's not
Yes.
about getting all onto the same like point and being like, okay, we all agree on this. No, we just have to learn again to accept that not everybody has the same opinion. And
Yeah.
in like diversity of thought, I think that is the beauty of it, because only that way do we actually have a way of enriching conversations. Because if everyone is thinking the same way, there is not going to be any progress anymore, and it's just going to be boring. There's
Yeah.
not going to be a discussion anymore.
Absolutely. Like this is the third topic. It's imposter syndrome and FOMO. And that's the imposter syndrome is kind of like the opposite of being authentic. So, and that's just my opinion. And so we're going to talk about that. And then there's the capitalizing off of the community. So, I mean, and then conclusions. I think that we're definitely going to get into more of that, like what the conclusions are about, you know, is what, how can we move forward, and how can we be, uh, like you said, kinder with each other, because we are all different. And personally, that's a beautiful thing. I mean, if I wanted to just watch myself, I would just talk to myself in the mirror a lot. And you know what? I do record videos of myself talking, and I have like a whole bunch of them on my iPad that are never going to see the light of day. And it's a good thing.
Yeah, sometimes it is for like some thoughts we have to utter to ourselves
Yeah,
and not
yeah,
make them public.
exactly. And yeah, I've even shared them with you and be like, should I? And you're like, no.
Yeah. In a way, I am your publicist.
Yes, absolutely. Thank goodness. Woo, yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, I love hearing people's about their differences, because
Yeah.
that's what humanity is, and I think we should love each other for that, not yeah. I mean, I think it's normal we're going to gravitate towards people that validate us,
Yeah.
but there's got to come a time when you kind of like step out of that, and in order to grow, it, that's how you grow, is by accepting what you can't change,
Yeah. And if we all have the same opinion, then every video response would sound exactly the same.
Yeah, and that would be boring. Jeez.
Really boring.
Well, again, thank you so much. And I love you guys, and thank
See
you,
you next
Maria.
time.
See you next time.
Bye.
Bye.